Somebody wrote about my work recently and said it was like looking at life through a microscope, and I thought, like an enlarged area of life, and I thought that's quite right. That's probably what I'm childlike in that sense, like the way a child will turn a stone over and look underneath the stone. I've got that impulse still, and I cherish that I'm lucky enough not to have had to grow up. I am quintessentially figurative. I am rooted in figuration, and actually, maybe it's not figuration, picture making. I am a picture maker, I'm an image maker. Even if I start completely abstract, which I do often, just throw loads of paint on a canvas, my animal instinct is to make something of it. Not to just have paint sensation, but to make an image. And it's that acceptance of my nature that's kept me figurative, I think. But I have a deep love of abstract painting. So the painters I like de Kooning, Pollock, Twombly, late Monet where they disappear, and I love late Titian where they dissolve, things like that. That's where I've learnt how to be a painter. So I've learnt about paint through them. But I haven't wanted to abandon the pursuit of the figure. I've always cared more about a work being powerful than being beautiful. And beauty scared me, I would say. I was afraid that if it was beautiful, it wasn't serious, or it was sentimental, or something like that. And that terrified me to go in that direction. And then I was in Naples, and I started working with a blind woman called Rosetta. Through that process of working with her, her beauty kind of came out. She had a lot of self-hatred and disgust about the way she was. Why would I possibly want to paint her? To feeling and exuding this incredible beauty. And that journey became very powerful for me and for her. That when I made the painting, I allowed myself to access that beauty. And I think it's the first sort of beautiful picture I made. And so I realized that it was okay to do that. I think there's an enormous shift in my work, and that came from actually growing a child inside my body. I'd spent my whole life trying to paint flesh. And I was painting flesh and growing flesh at the same time. And that was very powerful for me. I always say my kids gave me back my freedom, artistic freedom. I had these two toddlers who were just going crazy on the kitchen floor with paint, sitting there, just painting across the surface of the paper, this utter freedom. And I was like, well, wait, I'm the artist here, what's happening? I then started experimenting an awful lot more and going outside the lines and multiplying the lines and all of these different things. And I just rode that wave for many years. I often now start not knowing what I'm going to do, other than it's probably going to be a group of figures. And that's a really exciting way to work, because you're on a journey that you just don't know, and it's your creativity in the moment, in the act of making, that is your journey. So I don't like to have a fixed idea as much now. That's the shift. And I'm grateful for my kids, because they've given me that. If I hadn't have gone through the process of having a child, I think I wouldn't have been able to do that. The piece Aleppo comes out of a whole series of works that I've been working on for a few years now, which I haven't shown yet. So that's the first piece I've released that has been really, it's based around the Pietra. And when I was doing the piece, invited to do a piece at the National Gallery, it's actually one of the only site-specific pieces I've made. So I didn't know it was going to go through between those two Titians. That was a new development. But I knew it was going in one of those rooms. Obviously, the relationship with art history, I thought, well, I'm working on this Pietra series. I think I'm going to do something to do with this anyway. And I had a lot of images, a lot of images of war situations. And they're so remarkably similar, whether they're Rwanda, whether they're Bosnia, whether they're Iraq, Syria, that's maybe the colour of skin and the physiology changes a little bit, but the basic impulse is the same. And we do this again and again as humans. We just blow buildings up, we kill each other, we have children that are dying in our arms, and you sort of think, oh, gosh, we just repeat this cyclic pattern. And I've got 2 children, so I felt very, tried to imagine what that would be like. And it was actually very difficult making the work. I had to divorce myself from the feelings that I had about if they were my children, because that's quite painful to imagine. But I knew it was very powerful, I wanted to do it. Titian is important because I had an uncle who was an art historian, artist, and he guided me all through my early life. And so he would take me to see Rembrandt and take me to see Titian and Tintoretto and all the kind of greats. And he taught me that if you're going to have heroes, make them very big, make them really good. And if you don't ever think you're very good, because you only have to turn around and look at a Velasquez or turn around and look at a great Titian. And that is your measure. And you better work really hard, because that's difficult, because they are very good. So I've always had them around me as a sort of, a guide to keep working hard, to keep pushing, to keep trying to get the best out of something that I can do. And so it's an incredible journey in my life to now sit between those Titians and have a dialogue and to see, okay, I'm doing this, and how does my work look in that context? And for the museum to give me the opportunity to do that has been very special.